REO style. I love Fading Down Too Fast, don't you? I certainly do. I know, that's the bestest ever. Yeah, so that song has actually ran out of time a lot quicker than I wanted it to, but it actually, well, I had a general idea of what I was going to do this brief show on, and I'm certainly calling it brief. I hope it ends up being that way. But it was that concept, the dividing line. It's really in this book I've been reading. So it's not the actual book. It's actually the second book of theirs I'm going to read. But the author is Esther and Jerry Hicks. Esther? I don't know if it's Esther, so I don't know if that's Esther or Ether. I'm not even sure. Esther? I'm not even sure how to say that. But it's her and Jerry Hicks. And they've written a whole bunch of books. It's even been forwarded by Neil Donald Walsh. Did not know that. That's pretty cool. But it's called The Law of Attraction. It's the basics of the teachings of Abraham, which is funny. It's not the Abraham so much from the Bible, but it's sort of like channeled information. A very good friend of mine gave it to me, suggested it to me. I went down and bought it. And the one I started with was The Vortex. And The Vortex is really what this show's about, frankly. That's kind of where I'm at with this whole concept. The Vortex has really focused and I mean, I've done a bunch of shows about being positive, and it's funny as The Vortex has really made me understand how I am not being as positive as I thought I was. I mean, it's blowing my mind. So I'm going to be doing more shows. I mean, I'm a reasonably positive person. That's the thing that's kind of funny to me. And in reading this book, I'm realizing it's like, wow, I am not being as positive as I typically would like to be. And I'm going to try to get into a couple of the very simple basics, and then really that's the crux of the show. I'm going to get more into there's some fallacy things that I really want to cover in there. They talk about different fallacies that we believe to be the case, and they kind of break them down and sort of talk about how they're not really true. So it's a good example is scarcity. And I don't even know if this is mentioned in that book, but this is kind of an example of what these fallacies are, which is there's not enough for everybody. So when I try to manifest, say, like money in my life, for example, and I've got it stuck in the back of my head that there's not enough money out there to support everything, these two thoughts are really not harmonious together. They're opposites. And so you're kind of undoing what you're trying to do with your positive thinking. Like, I'd like to have more money. And then in the back of your head, you're like, but there's really not enough for all of us. It's that lack, that scarcity. And that's not really true. All these things are created by universe, God, source, whatever you want to call them. And that is what brings it to us. So there's an infinite amount, really. I mean, you're not the one that's sitting on that pile of cash that's a trillionaire, right? So you don't have to worry about it. But if you're trying to enhance your salary or trying to enhance your life, there's always room for more. There's always, room for more. Now, we obviously don't want to get, lost on the whole path of I need some sort of outward thing to make me happy, which is a lot of what the Vortex deals with. It's more about, just trying to get your thoughts straight. So to cover really quick on the song, Dividing Line, it's by Genesis, and that's post Phil Collins Genesis, but I still like the band just because I like the musicians. Anyway, a lot of extra stuff you don't care about, right? But dividing line, there's always been a dividing line which you choose not to see it. We've always had this line in our lives, and it truly is, and this is what the Vortex has had me see. We have this line in our lives, and we literally choose to ignore it. The point is that I've been, I guess, myself been understanding or coming to better terms with is how many thoughts I had around, great example, relationships, because this has kind of been my primary focus, is really hooking myself up with, I'm going to use the term soulmate, though it's a very loose term, and it's not, I think there's a level of depth to what really is a soulmate, because the standard concept means there's like only one person in the world for us. Maybe that's right, maybe that's not. I kind of think it's more, at any moment, there's always someone that's attuned to our vibrational frequency, to the energy levels that we're putting out there, that we're living, that we're experiencing. And maybe there's a whole bunch of people, right? But there's going to be that certain energy it's called the law of attraction. It's all about likes attracting likes. My energy level reaches a certain frequency, if you will, and there's someone else that's got that same energy level, and their frequency's right there with me, and now we're resonating together, and now we're together. Now we're, starting a path together because, everything's wonderful and groovy, and, we're heading on down that path together. So that's kind of what this book has really helped me sort of focus on, where a lot of times, for example, there's someone I care about, and I hope to God she's the soulmate. I really do. I hope she's my soulmate. And so here's how my thinking goes. This is kind of what I've been working on. It's pretty funny. Is I imagine when I think of this person, I see her eyes, and I see the smile, and I'm crazy about this person. I mean, I've told a lot of people, it's like, they always say when you meet somebody, like the person you want to be with, like you just know. And I can only think of one other person, and that was my first love, and like this is the only other person I can think of where it's just like the thoughts of her brings tears to my eyes, right? So it's just, so when I think of her, it's like, okay, I imagine the how much I care. I see us together. I see us hugging. I see us, but then on top of that, I'm also saying, okay, so my perfect soulmate, my soulmate's coming and is going to be in my life soon. We're going to begin living together, being together, not necessarily living in the same house right off the bat, but we're going down that path. That's where I'm ultimately, want to get to. I want to wake up next to this person, right? I mean, and this is where my thoughts have been, because for forever, my thoughts have been more on, well, I like my single life. I like living in my place, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to call anybody. All these thoughts that really aren't really true to what I'm hoping to experience. It's more me just kind of telling myself stuff so I can feel better about where I'm at, right? Or, or what I might be lacking, if you will. And so this book has really kind of gotten me to go like, dang, I'm not really connecting the dots correctly, right? Like I can be positive most of the time. It's like, oh, you're wonderful, you're great, people are fantastic, and I get customer service at the little coffee shop I work at and make people smile and they have a wonderful day and they go on their merry way. But when it comes down to the thoughts that I'm having, the things that I'm thinking about, the things that I'm focusing my attention on are not necessarily always, I'm going to say positive, but here's the easy way, and here's kind of what I'm leading up to, if you will. It is an issue of what experience do you wish to have? Focus on the direction you'd like to go. Great example. If you're trying to go to San Francisco, right, and you want to head up to the Bay Area, and you say you live in Southern California, for example. I forget that there might be people that listen to this that don't actually live around here. But so I live in, you live in Southern California, and you want to get to Northern California, you're going to head north. I'm going to think, okay, we need to head north. I need to hop on the 5 freeway, and I want to head north. You don't go, I want to hop on the 5 freeway and not head south. As an example. It's what is the direction you would like to experience? The relationship thing. Again, it's an issue of I would like to be in this situation where I've got this person close to me, that I'm able to hug them, that we're spending time. Maybe she's got a kid, so we're spending time. I'm maybe getting to help the kid with homework while she's making dinner, or vice versa. Or he's got Legos, and I freaking love Legos, man. Like. I want to date her just for her kids' Legos. That's it. The rest of it's just secondary, like, oh yeah, and she's really hot and everything else, right? But no. Her kids got Legos, man. Do you hear me? Legos. Oh God, I'm telling you, I'm stoked. But it's like, it's the imagining of that, of spending the time. It's like, well, I can envision myself playing Legos with her son, or he's hitting the ball off the tee to practice getting better at t-ball or whatever, and I'm out there with my glove catching it, and chucking it back or whatever. It's imagining the things that I would like to experience, rather than me going, I don't get to see her. Like, we haven't seen each other in a while, and we don't really talk on the phone as much as I'd like. I mean, we text daily, but I miss her, like I don't get to see her. That's the difference, though, and that's where my mind always was. Like, I felt like by saying I don't get to talk to her as much, that was like me trying to say, universe, I'd like to talk to her more. But what it's actually saying is, this is what I'm experiencing, and I'm going to continue to draw that experience towards me, because that's what I'm focusing my attention on, right? So if I wish to talk to her more, then it's about, we'll be talking on the phone, and then probably have a couple nights where it's okay for me to spend the night, maybe the son's at the dad's house or whatever the case is, and I get to spend some quality time. We go out to dinner, see a movie, and then I get to maybe spend the night, right? And so it's that thought process that's different. So you're in a job, you're unhappy, right? And your boss is being a jerk. There you go. That's the thinking. Oh, my boss isn't being very nice to me. Again, when we can look at the direction that we'd like to go and focus on that, we're better off. Now, yes, there will be times when things that are kind of negative, if you will, might happen. So instead of focusing on that negativity, when we take that negativity and go, okay, that's an example of what I'd rather experience the opposite of that, if you will. So boss is being a jerk to me. My next thought is, well, yeah, I'm going to be in a situation where my boss is being cool. And it could be the very same boss you're with, right? But you're focusing, and I'll be in this situation where my boss is being very cool. He respects me. He likes what's going on. And you really keep working in that direction, and you'll find that all of a sudden, your boss isn't being a jerk anymore, right? He might be to someone else if that's necessary, but not to you. And another kind of spinning this same concept, say he's not being a jerk to you anymore, right? But he's now being a jerk to someone else, and someone that's a friend of yours, right? And then that friend and you start talking, and your friend's like, yeah, the boss is being a jerk. And you're like, yeah, he used to be a jerk to me. The second you start doing that, now you're going back down that negative energy path, right? So it's either A, we try to avoid those conversations, or we try to steer them in a more positive direction for not only just ourselves, but for the individual that we're talking to. Because by getting this individual to focus on the positive or the good or the direction they'd like to go, we're doing them a larger service than sitting there and talking negative talk with them about, how this boss is a jerk. Another example for what's going on in my life. My mom's kind of sick right now, right? And so the couple times I'd talked to her, it was kind of like getting her to kind of be comfortable with the ultimate badness. And then it was kind of more like realizing, oh my God, I'm being negative. I'm being the negative one. Let's just talk about good things. Let's talk about heading down the path. Let's talk, like tonight I was talking to her about, you need to start blogging about this cancer and letting other people know that what it's like to be a survivor and what it's like to keep moving through this and what it's like to make a difference in other people's lives. My older brother is an author. This is her son too. He's an author and he's written books. And I'm like, Mom, you could probably write a book about this. You could self-publish. And it's this act of talking her down the path of looking further down the road, giving her a reason to live. Not that I'm giving it to her, but I'm helping her with her mind games in getting herself to the point of wanting to make a difference in other people's lives, and that becomes her purpose. So she's gone through all this horrible stuff. Again, going back, right? You go through all this horrible stuff because you want that to be the reminder of, okay, I want to do the opposite of that. So I'm going to focus on the positives. I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but at the same time, it is very tricky to get used to doing. We all have a lot of practice doing the other. We get a lot of issues with, a lot of the bombarding by commercials. Everything, we need more, we need more, we need more. Everything we got's not good enough. It needs to be better. You watch sitcoms, the husband's a jerk and the wife is always, ganging up against him because he can't do anything right and the guy's a doof. Like, these are the images that we're given over and over. You watch the news, it's all negative. There's nothing really positive. And granted, I agree, if it was positive news, probably no one would watch it. But my fact is we're gluing onto this stuff. We're watching it because we want to see it. We want to watch it. We want to stay in that negative focus. And we're just so in the habit of doing it. This book has been amazing to me as far as really getting me to realize as positive as I really am. I mean, and I don't mean this to sound braggy, but relative to most people I know, I'm a freaking really positive person. Like, generally speaking, my glass is like, half full no matter what, or it's even a quarter full if things are sucking, But ultimately, I'm still looking like up and out. But when I realized with like the relationship thing especially, and I had a couple really good friends of mine that are getting into Reiki healing, and so they both gave me a healing, and it was amazing. Like, I haven't had a healing for years, and I certainly felt like I could use one. It was an amazing experience. These two ladies did just an awesome job, and it was really geared towards this whole relationship thing. And the very next day, something really magical and cool happened. And then the day after that, some more, it's just continuing. Like, they've already made a difference. I'm already seeing things happen in my life, and I'm working on getting my energy and my focus and all these things in the right direction. And you almost immediately begin to see results. So it's something I'm asking a bunch of you to try. The few of you that listen or whatever, this is worth trying. The few, see, that's negative, right? However many people listen to this, this is what I'm trying to get you to try to look at. Look at the times in your life when you're look at the times in your life. I want to do it this way. Look at the times in your life when you are focused on the direction you'd like to go. And rejoice and be happy and pat yourself on the back, because that's what you're going for. So anytime you're not doing that, catch yourself and push yourself back on the what would I like to experience? What do I really want? And for many people, especially people like me that really like to give and help others, it becomes very hard to live for yourself. I think even an example with this girl I care a lot about. Her whole life's wrapped around her son and helping her son, and that's a beautiful thing. She's a wonderful mom, probably one of the best mothers I've ever gotten to know. And it's amazing to see her do that. But I think at the same time, sometimes she forgets that she's a part of this too, that she deserves happiness as well, that she can be an awesome mom and still have happiness within her own life. It's just how we are so used to kind of gearing ourselves. And this book, again, like I said, it's been amazing. I mean, I'm saying this with a smile on my face because it's pretty incredible how it all plays out. So it's something I want kind of each and all of you to take away, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it makes a difference. You know, it's about all I can hope to do. And I just realized, one, I've went longer than I planned to, which is fine. But two, I actually didn't do all the business at the beginning, which I normally do. So I got to cover the business, and for anyone that's already dropped off, that's, oh well, too bad. But it's Dan Radio Style, of course, is the channel. Love subscribers. Please subscribe. And if you want to comment or ask questions or whatever, you can get in touch with me at spiritradiodanstyle@gmail.com. And I look forward to doing more shows. I'm definitely going to cover more on this vortex thing. I consider this one of the most important aspects of living that's out there, especially for the light workers that are out there. This is how we're going to be the example to others. This is going to make our light brighter. And so I think it's really good, and I highly recommend it. The Vortex is the name of the book, and it's by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and I'm sounding it out. So it's either Esther or Esther, either way, and the H is silent, or it's Esther. You can try spelling it. That always works too. So we'll do more shows, but I just wanted to touch base, catch up. It's been a little while since I've done a show, and so there we go. Dan Radio Style, thanks for joining me, and we'll have more journeys coming up soon.